We have a couple of polls today that'll help us understand who's with us taking part in this event. So this first poll I want to put up there so we find out a little bit more about who's joined us today. So there we go. So I'm trying to find out a little bit more about who is trying to be involved in working on the camera trap. So I don't know if you guys can see the progress. I can see it. I'll give you just a minute, or I should say a few more seconds. Looks like we're all in. Okay, so I'm ending the polling and I'm going to share the results. So it's good to see. I'm really excited to see that. 3rd through 6th graders represented, a couple of junior high people, and all the people in the other categories. I'm going to assume those are all our peers out there, coworkers and friends in the industry. So good. Thank you all for joining us. Okay. I want you guys to know this is the first time Denise and I have made this presentation to anyone. So we're real excited to be able to share what we've got going on over here. This presentation should take about 15 minutes or so. So it'll be short and sweet, and we'll be happy to hang around at the end to answer questions. So I'll do my best to go slowly, just in case you're really interested in hearing every little morsel today. Otherwise, we'll have this recording sent out to you after we're done. I'm not sure if that'll be in a couple of days or at the end of the day. Denise, do you know the answer to that?
I'll send out a copy of the recording later today after it's all done.
Terrific, thank you. Okay. So on this slide, I would like to be able to show you this map. Since we're not in the same room, I want to get oriented to where you are and where I am. I'll bet most of you are able to spot what area you live. Sorry, I'm nervous. I'm located where that big red star is, out in the far East Bay. That's where the Cal State East Bay satellite campus is. The main campus down here in Hayward in red is right there. Denise is talking to us from Walnut Creek, which is located right next to Mount Diablo, just like our campus is. So we're highly invested in this area. Let's see, you can see I've shared some numbers on the left that are basically showing us some population statistics. It shows that we have millions of people occupying the space where animals used to roam. That's just plain and simple. We are so lucky to live in such a diverse area. We enjoy a Mediterranean climate, which gives us dry summers and wet winters, creating ideal conditions for lots of plants and animals to enjoy, including us. Habitat is where all things live. Like all living things, animals need specific habitat that includes all the resources they need to survive, like food, water, shelter, and safety. Habitats in the San Francisco Bay Area include coastal scrub, sand dunes, the Pacific Ocean, oak woodlands, saltwater marsh, riparian, freshwater wetlands, and grasslands. This means here in the Bay Area, a lot of different animals can be found in all sorts of different places. The school where I work in Concord is located on oak woodland and coastal scrub habitat. The animals in this presentation are most commonly associated with those habitats. So let's take another poll. I want to see what your skills are currently for working with camera trap images. So if you can, identify for me what you think you see in that picture. Oh, okay, is everybody gonna get that? Take that poll. I'll give you a couple more seconds to get everybody in there. Okay, does it look like? Okay, almost everybody's responded. Couple more. Okay, looks good. It looks like most of you could see what I could see. Oops, get rid of that. So, oh no. Oh, there we go. Let me show you what this really is. There's our skunk. So that surprised me. That was one of the earliest images I've got while setting up this camera trap. So that was really fun to spot a skunk. So, oops, I'm trying to, there we go. Let's take a second poll to see if you guys can tell what this is. Do we have that one, Denise? There we go. Yeah. There we go. So it looks like most of you saw what I saw. So that is a deer, and this is a still shot. So on the cameras that I have out there, I have some video and some still shot pictures. And so it's been kind of fun to see the different types of images I have to figure out. Let's see, hang on, let me get coordinated here with my slides. So now let's take a look at what a wildlife corridor is and why it's important in this short and cute video.
A wildlife corridor is the route an animal takes to move freely from one place to another for survival, like for food, a mate, water, or shelter, and these corridors are made by connected habitats.
Awesome. I want to thank Denise for putting that together. It's just a bunch of our really cute videos. So we thought you might enjoy seeing some of the cuteness that we found out here. Oh, Denise, you're up.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'll just talk a little bit about habitat fragmentation. So unfortunately, habitats are continuously becoming fragmented. So that means they're continuously split into smaller patches through human activities such as building roads, urbanization, agriculture, and the fragmentation of these habitats can have disastrous impacts on local wildlife. So that means it might limit their resources for water, for food, or for just finding a partner. And that can lead to possible extinction or competition between species.
Sorry, I was listening and I didn't click. There we go. So what we've noticed out here on the Concord campus is that it was pretty obvious that we are part, or we must be part of a wildlife corridor. So the Concord campus is located at the top where my cursor is circling, and we sit on 384 acres, this big patch of golden dirt right here. Mount Diablo is over towards the right, just outside of this image. So we're sitting technically in the Mount Diablo foothills here. Our campus is right on the edge of urban development. So we're surrounded on 3 sides by all these homes. These are all little homes and businesses surrounding us here. And on the left side is one little road that separates us from the rest of this mountain range, or the foothills of the mountain right here. So we were inspired to do this wildlife monitoring using the cameras because we see them around and we hear stories about it. So this image is really what started the whole thought process for me a couple of years ago. Okay. So I've only spotted a few animals with my own eyes, but I've heard stories from people that have hiked out on the trail systems. All these little skinny lines out here are trail systems out here. And I actually talk to people that hike around through our campus or take walks, morning exercise, and I hear lots of stories of all sorts of different animals. In fact, just yesterday, the director of our campus, Dr. Phelps, spotted a bobcat right here next to our library building, just laying there right here on our campus. So that was pretty cool. So far, in the 2 months of doing research using the camera trap system, we've found 15 different animal species using the corridors in the foothills, not including birds and reptiles and amphibians. Those are difficult to catch on these cameras. We are mostly focusing on animals that have a large range, meaning they travel far to get to their resources. And by far, some of them are, stay within a quarter mile, some of them travel 10 miles. So that's quite a stretch across this area. This image shows one of the cameras that I've used out in the field. Camera traps are not physical cages, but pictures taken of animals as they pass by the trail camera that we have mounted on a tree or a fence post or shrub. These cameras are motion activated, meaning it snaps a picture each time it senses movement. This includes every movement, like leaves and grass blowing in the wind, a bird flying by, or larger animals, which is what I'm trying to catch. It also means I'm not standing there, so the animals are free to behave normally. These cameras work on battery power, so we only need to check on them every few days to swap out batteries and swap out the data card. The research we're performing is intended to help all of us understand which animals are using the corridors in the area. Monitoring the activity of the animals will help us better understand the role that conservation efforts can play in maintaining a healthy ecosystem. Our hope is that you use your own camera to replicate what we've done and possibly inspire you to start your own or add to research projects that are going on. We have provided some basic instructions in your materials to get you started. We hope you'll find it interesting and exciting to seek out which animals share your habitat. We encourage you to try these activities at different times of day. I found that most activity takes place early in the morning as the sun is coming up and late in the day when the sun is setting. Most activity, however, occurs during the night. These motion activated cameras have built-in flash to illuminate whatever triggered it. I haven't been able to figure out quite the best way to instruct you on how to get light on your area during the night, other than maybe leaving on a porch light. But maybe you can tell me your solution if you come back and join us again on Friday. So let's take a quick look at the handouts we're providing to you for this session. So this first sheet is for people using cameras. So cameras can be two things, right? So we have cameras on our phones, which is mostly what I'm geared towards, or digital cameras or old time push button cameras. So I'm not going to read the whole data sheet for you, but I just want you to know we've got you set up here with some basic instructions, along with some tips and some troubleshooting ideas if you find that something's not working right or your pictures aren't turning out right. This next sheet, oops, let me go back. The next sheet is for people that may not use cameras, but just want to make observations. So observing in nature can be really nice to do. If you can get out to a park, set yourself up and just be quiet and observe and write down everything you see. That's one way to do it. Another way in your home is to set yourself up next to a window. That way you're not outside with whatever critters are there, and they'll behave normally and you'll be comfortable inside your home. So there's kind of a bonus to doing it that way too. After you're done with any of these activities, we've included some reflection and exploring comments to help you be inspired or guide you on how to further your process. So if you find you're not being creative or not able to expand your ideas, some of these comments might help with that. We also want to take a moment to encourage you to become a citizen scientist. So I'm glad that you're joining us at this Bay Area Science Festival. To me, that tells me that you've already got some interest in science. So what I'm not sure is if you realize there's many ways that you can participate as a citizen scientist. So we've included some links here to help you explore how to do that. We hope that setting up this camera trap activity inspires you to discover more ways to use the information you're collecting. The iNaturalist program or app for your phone is a great way to help the Cal Academy of Sciences in San Francisco to add to their database. So I use it when I go out on nature walks and I take pictures of a plant and load it into my app, and that app will identify the plant along with other peers, other people out in the field taking pictures or recognizing the same thing, and we'll all verify the sighting and it'll be added to their database. So over the years, they're going to use this data to monitor changes in our ecosystem. So that's just one of the fun ways. There's, for every idea that you could have of something that you're interested, whether it's air, water, animals, plants, stars, there's apps out there. So have fun trying to find what you're interested with that. I highly encourage it. Oops. Okay. So now I think I've talked randomly about enough separate things. I want to show you some more videos from the camera trap. And we recognize some of you may not have be able to see it very well, but we hope that the recording that we send you, you'll be able to click on it and see it if it's not playing for you here. So let's take a second and enjoy some more of the cool videos that we've seen. So these are all 10-second videos, and this is just real fun in the morning. I'm sorry, it just makes me laugh. Oop. Sorry, it's playing again. Let you see it one more time. Here we go. This one's a good one of this fawn that had hung out for a couple of hours, and now she's stretching. Nice morning stretch, which this is just stuff we just don't get to see when we're, you know, maybe spotting a deer up on the hills or something. So it's pretty fun to see it this way. Okay, this next one, this is the mama doe on the left. And there's her baby. So I'll let that play again. Oops. Okay. Down to the coyote. This was a hot day, 91 degrees at 9:30 in the morning. So he was laying down to take a little rest there in the shade. This one right here, this I believe is a burrowing owl. And it's 11 o'clock at night. And he's hanging out where I've seen wood rats. So I got to think his dinner is hanging out in there somewhere. So in the next screen, I haven't figured this part out, you guys, sorry. There we go. In the next screen, this squirrel is hanging out at the very same spot that owl was. I'll go back so you can see. This is the same log and the same spot where the squirrel is. And that shows you how little that little owl was. Now let's watch this guy. So he just dug something out of the dirt. Not sure what it is, but I wouldn't have known there was food in there. Okay, and this picture, I got this one just walking. So walking along one of the trails out here. Pretty fun to almost step on and get a great shot of. Okay, so that gets us to the end of this presentation. I want to make sure you join us on Friday to meet Carlos de la Rosa, Executive Director of the Lindsay Wildlife Experience in Walnut Creek. Some of you may know the Lindsay folks because they have a hospital there where people take their injured wildlife in hopes of having the Lindsay folks take care of them. I'm sure Mr. De La Rosa will have some interesting stories to share and hopefully some critters too. So that'll be on Friday afternoon at 3, where I'm also hoping you'll join us and share images to the links that we've provided to you, and we may be able to check those out. We can also discuss some of the issues you may have trying to set up your own camera trap system. And I look forward to being able to help you out then as well at the end of that presentation. So that concludes this conversation for today. I'm happy to hang out here and answer any questions. We'll hang out as long as we need to in this 1 hour. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope you find critters and share them with us.
So we have 2 questions in the chat, Kathy. The first one is, do you cover the cameras to camouflage them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I do not, but in the picture of the cameras, you may have noticed it was somewhat brown. So they're kind of already colored in a camouflage color, and they just blend in with most of the tree trunks out here. So I don't need to cover them with anything.
And then our second question is, how do you know where to put the cameras?
Ooh, really good question. So what I did when I first started walking about trying to identify where is find trails on the hillsides. So I could see where wildlife had kind of made some trails. So especially like the coyotes, larger animals that make footpaths. So I was able to put the camera in footpaths like that. What I've learned, there's some tips on the handouts. So if you're doing this in your backyard or at a park or something like that, try to think about the size of your animal and put the camera down at that, like at their eye level or body level. So some of the pictures you may have noticed were really low, like close to the ground, and that's where I got squirrels, right? So they're only 6 inches tall. So I was able to put the camera down at their level to make sure I got them on camera. Hope that helps.
Anybody? We have another question. We have 2 more questions. Do you have any issues with your cameras?
Oh, just trying to figure out the recording settings. So that these cameras are pretty cool. They come with the ability to do photos or videos or both. And then what you're trying to do is set up how many times it takes a picture and how far apart it takes pictures. So getting those settings set up. And then the other issue I have is my concern about sustainability. So they're using a lot of batteries. So that's one of the bigger concerns I have with setting these out. So one of the folks I've talked to that has a camera system of her own set out uses rechargeable batteries. So those are great, but you just have to make sure to get out there really often because they drain faster than the regular batteries do. So those are the issues I've come up with.
What brand of camera do you use?
This one was an odd brand. It's Agio, something like that. There's it's a good Amazon search to find these trail cameras on Amazon. That's where I found these. And they don't have, there's Bushnell. Bushnell's a brand for binoculars. That's pretty widely known, but also more expensive. So this was a low-end product that works just fine. So about $60, $70 for the camera.
Has an animal ever broken one of your cameras that was in the wild?
No, but I've had deer rub on it as hard as it possibly could. So the cameras are pretty solidly built. And this deer found it and was rubbing on it. I think they're starting to rub their antlers at this time of year. So I was worried for a minute as I watched the video, but no cameras have been broken, but I have had one stolen. So that's the other part, is trying to put them where people won't see them.
And then how much is a camera?
Oh, so about $70 for the camera. So one of my concerns I have, so it depends on who I'm talking to, if you're a student or if you're one of my peers. So I highly recommend using a more affordable product like this one at $60 or $70. But you also need to be mindful of people's privacy and where you set these cameras. So that is something, if you're going to do this in your backyard, you need to make sure you're mindful of who's all in the shot. So, so that's something to consider for a home project if you're not going to be out away from public. So I don't know if that answered that. I got off on a tangent.
And then at night, how do you set your camera? Can you leave your flash on? But would that scare the animals? What do you recommend?
Right. So if you're doing this at home, that's the one thing where I was talking about, you might leave your porch light on or something to try and illuminate an area at home. These cameras out in the wild have a flash that automatically triggers when the picture is taken. So it just does a burst of a flash and then it's off. So hopefully that answers.
Do you strap them to trees?
I do. So it comes with a canvas, or not canvas, so a strap that is not very long. So I have to find somewhat of a smallish item to strap it to. But yes, that's it. The camera came with it. So if you're at home doing this with an iPhone or something, you might need to just figure out a prop, right? Set it up on a chair or down on the ground and lean it against the tree, something like that, and push record and walk away. So that's kind of how I picture being able to do it at home. But out here, I'm leaving it for days. I strap it to the tree, turn it on, and walk away. So it's doing its thing. And these are all weather cameras, so they survive all the heat and the rain and all that.
How many animals do you capture at night?
Let's see.
Capture a night, sorry, correction.
What was the question?
How many animals do you capture a night?
A night. I I know I've mentioned that it was the busiest time. So, but remember, I'm setting these out for days at a time. So I get, my best guess would be I probably see 4 animals doing their thing, passing by, but some of the animals just hang out in front of where I have the camera. So I'll see them over the period of a couple of hours be in the same area. So that would be like deer, for example. They just kind of hang out and graze and wander around. Where other animals like a bobcat might just walk past and I'll just see it once. So, and I'm lucky if I see it. I don't necessarily see it every night. I might see it once a week or twice a week, something like that. So it's kind of hard to quantify that number, but I would say your best bet of seeing animals is at night, because that's when all of us are usually tucked away in our homes and they're out roaming around. So most of the raccoons and possums, owls, deer, coyote, bobcats, all those critters are out all night long because they're hiding from us most of the day.
Did Natalie have her hand raised? Do you
I
have a
saw that.
question?
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, I don't have a photograph, but I saw a San Joaquin kit fox walking through one of the smaller parking lots in Rossmore in Walnut Creek. And I think those are fairly rare, so I just thought I'd let you know about it. So they are around.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Is there a way to, Denise, I know you had me register an animal recently. Is there a way to register or a place to look for that to kind of document the sightings?
I would check with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. They're usually keeping track of those things.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I saw somebody else.
And is there a crowdsourcing effort that citizen scientists can upload their videos to? Do you know?
Of just wildlife videos? That one I'm not sure. And again, I'm fairly new at beginning this process, so I haven't been able to explore. I've been mostly collecting data right now, and I haven't explored where to share all of this data. But I am, as time goes by, starting to collect more information from peers. So for Save Mount Diablo, Denise, will you have on those links a way for them? They can touch base with us and maybe we can provide them with a link if we look into it.
Yeah, so I will provide access to a Google Drive where everyone can upload, and then we can share those on Friday. So more information on that will be sent out later today. Yeah.
Okay, and then for other organizations that might be collecting wildlife data, I think it might be more species specific, I would imagine, for people collecting data. So that might be a Google search or to find out if there's somebody, if you happen to, want to pursue documenting certain wildlife. I think that might be a more species specific organization.
Yeah, and I just want to add in on the worksheet, there is on the resources part, there is a link to scistarter.com, or is it .org, where that's like you can browse through different citizen scientist efforts, and some of those are organizations asking if you've seen a certain animal. So please definitely check that out. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities to help.
Cool. Should we hang out for a little bit more?
Okay, we have a couple more questions.
Oh, good. Okay.
We have a couple more. Yeah. So do you see animals like bobcats often?
I see them more often than I thought I would. So, so that's exciting for us. So earlier in my conversation, I said that we saw one right here on our campus. So that's exciting. And I've seen them on the trail cameras that I have set further from here. So we know they're using this space. I've always understood that they were elusive and really hard to find or see, but now I'm seeing how often we're getting to, I'll say, spy on them. And I want to assert that it's also this time of year where they're coming out looking for water. So the creeks are dry. And so I would say that there's a lot of backyards that have swimming pools and stuff where they're getting a drink. So they're coming more in towards the urban areas right now is an assumption I'm making. And that's why we're doing this study. But I think it's this time of year is why we're seeing them as often as we are. So I look forward to being able to keep this study going over time and see if we just don't see them much during winter when they're able to get their resources back up in the safety of the hills. So that'll be something we'll learn more about.
I have a question.
Okay.
I don't have a question. What I wanted to say is yesterday I spotted some hummingbirds come and sip nectar out of my hummingbird feeder. Some minutes back, my mom came and showed me the images she took while the class was going.
Oh, terrific. Hummingbirds are great. We love hummingbirds. So you have hummingbirds in your own backyard. That's really good news.
Yeah, but there are some tracks and we haven't found out that.
Oh, really? Okay. Sorry.
So have you seen an American badger?
Have I seen an American badger? I've been lucky to see one on one of my pictures. And that surprised a lot of people and got a lot of people excited because we didn't realize there were badgers still in this neck of the woods. So we're doing a little bit more research on that one to make sure we keep it safe and protect it. So we're very excited, and that's one of the things about doing this research is finding rare species that we want to make sure we keep safe. So I'm excited to say I have seen it, and that's about all I can say.
I see that we have 2 participants who raised their hand, although they disappeared. Did someone raise their hand? Does someone have a question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Have you ever seen a beaver before on one of the videos?
I have not seen a beaver. We don't have the type of water here that I think we would need to have the beaver around. So I hope to at some point, but I don't have it on my system.
Once when I was visiting my grandmother's house, we went to one of the place where you can go kayaking, and we saw a river otter there.
Oh,
And
really
it
fun.
actually came really close to us.
Really fun. That's great. So yes, that's where they need to be, is where there's water like that. And I don't have a river nearby where I'm putting my cameras. So I haven't been able to capture a video of that. But thanks for sharing.
I have a creek nearby.
Ah, that explains why you have some tracks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, a creek is really good. So that means maybe riparian habitat, I'm guessing. So do you live in the Bay Area, in the San Francisco Bay Area? So you don't have to tell me where, but I'm just curious.
No.
Okay. Okay. Just curious. Trying to dial that in a little more.
I live in Milpitas.
Oh, great. Okay. That's good. That is the San Francisco Bay Area. And you probably are near a different, not riparian habitat, but maybe a marsh of some sort. So that's really a really fun and exciting type of area where you'll see some really cool animals out that way.
We have another question on the chat. How much do you think COVID has to do with the frequency of wildlife sightings now?
I don't know if COVID has much to do with it. I think it's more the time of year that I'm getting so many sightings because I was able to find a watering hole. I think, yeah, that's tough because I think a lot of people are out and about walking around and identifying some of the critters out there more so because they're out walking around, not because it's changed the animals. So if I'm understanding your question right, so I think it's more people are out and about that would explain, the stories that I'm hearing. But I don't think the animal behavior has changed.
I think that COVID does have something to do with the abundance of animals, because now in the COVID, less people go out, so the animals aren't so scared, and so they will just come walking into our backyard,
So you think we see less animals?
No, we see more animals.
Because you're home to see them?
No, because since there are less people outside, these animals come more towards your home, so you can see them more easily.
Wow, okay. I'll take it.
Are there any more questions?
Okay. I think I'm ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you, Denise. Thanks for helping out. Thanks to our tech support person for helping us today. And we really appreciate all of you joining us and spending the time looking into the camera trap system. Again, we hope you join us on Friday to hear from Lindsay Wildlife. I think that'll be really interesting too. So we'll see you then.
Yeah. And I just want to add, I will be sending out the recording later today and more resources. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to email me. You should have my email with all the information that I sent out in the worksheet. Yeah, feel free to contact me. Hope to see you Friday.
All right.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.